Greetings. My name is Luis Molina, and I'm the host of the Life Puro podcast. In today's episode, we conclude our discussion with Gustavo Martinez. In this episode, he and I both reminisce about our first trip to Spain together in 2016. So for anyone who's interested or has ever been curious about traveling to Spain, we highly recommend you tuning in. Thanks again. So let's turn it up a bit. Change it up a bit. Let's talk about Spain. Go back to Spain. Let's recount
my love
the first.
life.
I know the first time you took me and Mike in 2016 in July. Because to me, like, I fell in love with that country. I'm sporting Valencia. It's just so beautiful, so diverse. Like, you can pick any little corner, and you have each regional.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Influence. Yeah, like it's like Louisiana, right? Like, you have New Orleans, you have Baton Rouge, Homa, Acadiana, Lake Charles. Like, it's
everybody's
all
different.
Yeah,
Everybody's different.
So let's recount. We go July 2016, and we go for let's do the stereotypical, the running of the bulls.
Yeah. We went to the run of the bulls. We went to Pamplona first.
Well, no, we flew into Madrid. From New Orleans to Miami.
Yeah.
Miami to Turkey.
No.
That?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we had a layover in Turkey.
Istanbul. Yeah. Exactly.
What happened there?
Oh God. We
had plans of going into the city.
Yeah, I'm never gonna forget Mike for that one, but yeah, but Istanbul's it's one of those countries that are just like you have to go. But yeah, we went there, and then we went to I think we had 10 hour. How was it? 8 or 10 hour layover, right?
In Istanbul?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had plans of going into the city to like the famous
But that's
bazaar.
when the bombing
they had some coup.
Yeah, so
that was going on.
So we had to
stay at the airport.
When we got there a week after the bombing of the airport.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You remember they had just cleaned up whatever.
That's right.
You remember it was still in kind of like
security too.
Yeah. You remember that they had scaffolding and stuff like that, and they closed off that area where the bombing was at. Then after that, Mike was terrified.
I know he didn't want to go into.
Oh, he was sweating bullets, man. Let me tell you, he's like he thought that somebody was just gonna jihad him as soon as he walked out of it. No offense, but so he was just scared. I was like typical, American guy, just nervous. And then the next thing you know, but we got to see a lot of the stuff that we wanted to, in the airport. They were like, we got to try a lot of the stuff that they had. And then we went to Madrid.
Yep. So from Turkey, we fly into Madrid. I want to say it was like, what time?
We got there at night
because we had like jet lag.
Yeah, we were there like 6 o'clock in the evening, brother. Like we were.
Yeah, the first night maybe. Yeah. So we get there, and then we wake up the next morning.
Took the train to Pamplona.
Well, no, we spend the day in Madrid.
Yeah,
that was
you're
okay.
Right.
So we left. I think we left July 3rd from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Ended up in Madrid on July 4th, maybe.
Yeah.
And then we stayed overnight, spent the whole day, July 5th, in Madrid. Yeah, and that's where we met Tomas. Remember Tomas?
Yeah, it's great, Tomas.
The man in Madrid.
Yeah, the man in Madrid. If you ever go, he has that place
for cigar people. Yeah,
the Cueva. Yeah, the Cueva. I think it's what's it called, the Cueva, something in Madrid, something like.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, so, he is.
Madrid.
That is a
Tomas Gomez.
Tomas Gomez
is a owner of a shop in Madrid.
Great guy, man. Awesome
called
guy.
I just forgot. Miguel Angel or something like that.
Miguel Angel, yeah, some Cueva de Miguel Angel, something like that. Something right, something like that. I think it's something to do with the cave of.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. But man, now I feel bad. So anyway, so we get to meet Tomas.
Right.
Owns this cool shop in Madrid. That's where we get a lot of the Cubans because we obviously don't have access to it.
Right.
And it's just super sweet.
Knowledgeable too, man.
Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
I think he's like a legend in like Europe.
Let me tell you something. That man's got, he knows people. Like he goes to Cuba to go, talk to those people, and he gets a lot of, he's known in the cigar world. I mean, he's well known. Just great, charismatic guy. He's a Real Madrid, lover just like me. Just to let you know,
right?
A la Madrid, Tomas, But yeah, we're big fans. And remember, we had in that conversation where it was funny how we were split between his workers and him, because his workers are like my brother. My brother Eddie's what's the other Atletico Madrid. He was an Atletico fan.
Oh yeah,
and they were going back and forth on who's better about that, and
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a great guy, man. But you remember he had those. I mean, he had a lot of old smokes. I mean, he had a
Yeah, he actually gave us access to certain like regionals I was looking for, but he had them hidden.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just selling them to anyone, and he was gracious enough to sell us some of those. I'm looking up some pictures here.
Did he have the ones from Picasso? Did he have some from his personal stock or something like that?
I don't know, but let's see. It was a regional edition.
Man, those Simone Boulevards. Oh my God. You remember those Simone Boulevards that we smoked over there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I see why they still love Cuban cigars, because when I had that Simone Boulevard, I was like, wow, that's a great.
It was
Simone.
the Punch, Exclusivo España. It's
Yeah.
like almost like a Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
Those were awesome. So I do. I mean, even though
that Partagas was good too. Remember that Partagas that we had too.
Mm-hmm. So
Thank
if you're
you,
in Madrid,
Tomas.
El Rey del Mundo. That was the other one I wanted.
Yeah.
The Spanish edition from that year. Those little short kind of. I don't want to say nubs, but like they were kind of short, fat cigars. Those were awesome. Good price point too.
Yeah.
So we spent the day in Madrid. So we had to get to Pamplona.
Mm-hmm.
We took the last train from Madrid to Pamplona.
Mm-hmm.
We end up arriving in Pamplona in the evening. And it was like, once we got off the train station, it was like a madhouse.
Yeah, it was party central. Everybody asks me every time, they like, what was the Ring of the Bulls like? And I was like, man, it's like freaking Mardi Gras on steroids. I can't explain it to you. You just have to experience.
Yeah. It's one of the greatest festivals
I've
on
ever
earth.
been to. Yeah, this is one of the greatest festivals I've ever been to. The Chupinazo, which is the
opening ceremony.
The opening ceremony that we went to was like, I've never seen nothing like that, man. That's like getting a bunch of soccer fans and the ball, just having them root for your team at once, and just, I mean, you remember like the people, how loud it was. I mean,
so to give people some insight, the Chupinazo is like the official launch. Like, all right, the party's starting for it's technically called the San Fermines.
Yeah, San Fermines.
The Saint Fermin, I guess. Right. It's a religious holiday technically, and you start at the old city hall. Mm-hmm. They have the rocket they launch. They have like all the members of the council, city council, the mayor, other dignitaries. They launch the rocket right at noon every July 6th.
Right.
Explodes. The crowd goes wild.
The chant. You remember the chant?
Yeah, the chant.
Because like the first thing he does is, before he lights up that firecracker, he says, what does he say?
Oh yeah, Viva.
No, he said Viva. He said Viva. No, he says
there's a
Pamploneses, and he says Pamplonesas. And then they're talking about the women. And he says Viva San Fermin.
Yeah,
Gora, something like that. San Fermin, like they say it in the Basque language or whatever. And then the next thing you know, that firecracker goes up, and then the whole freaking crowd goes ape shit. It just, because they know the party started now officially, and it's just like the intensity. And people chanting, people jumping up and down and going crazy. I mean,
everyone's
you remember throwing up sangria up in
the
You remember, like, we walk in there with the white pants, white shirt, and the red the pants,
like
and the
sash.
Yeah, me and you had the red beret. We were
like locals. Yeah,
we're like locals. And man, let me tell you something. Like,
you're all drenched in red.
Yeah, and they take that stuff seriously. Yeah, you remember I put I didn't know, because it was my first time going to the festival, so I had put the handkerchief around my neck, like I thought, because I seen it on the video. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm tying it." No, you don't tie it until the festival
launch,
starts. And I'm like, "Oh, excuse me." It's like,
there's like a very ritual.
Yeah. And then once you do that, you tie it off and you're good, you know. And then next thing you know,
so then like another tradition is from that square, you walk through the city and people are dumping from like the rooftop, like not the rooftop, but like the balconies up above. They're dumping water on everyone, because I guess there's like a tradition, like everyone's drenched in sangria. They're dumping water on you to like help rinse.
It's crazy, man.
You're still colored red,
dude. We were drenched. I've never had that much wine in my life, in those many amounts of hours. Like I've never had so many people give me red wine and sangria.
Very generous there.
Yeah, very good. Like, you remember how we had those little like skin, or the lambskin pockets of like our canteens,
the botas, they call it.
The botas, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it's that famous pouch, like if you ever read Hemingway's now I'm blanking.
Yeah, but something like the shepherds would carry with him.
And he's like, Hemingway is like a central figure in Pamplona. He's the one who like helped promote that San Fermines like from the 1920s.
Yeah.
And what was the brand, the famous brand? It's called Tres Zetas,
yeah,
the three Z's.
Yeah. And he remember he
and you
had
feel
it.
So you basically, it's like a calf skin or something like leather.
You fill it in with
you fill it
wine.
with the alcohol.
Yeah, with the red wine, and next thing you know, and those people are very gracious because as soon as they saw your pouch empty, here you go,
refill,
some more. And I'm like, this is a great country, free wine. How you know these people know how to party, and man, we just
so from
crazy.
that we watch a bullfight that first day.
Yeah, so the first day we went to we went to the bullfights over there, and we went to the bull rings, and we got to see the caballeros first, which is the men in horses. You remember the ones with the horses, those bullfighters, and then we got to see the actual bullfight at the end, and and it was like, man, this is the first time I saw blood and all that stuff.
The Sun Also Rises is the name of the Hemingway book now.
But I remember we went there. And you were very happy because they let you smoke at the arena. And you were like, this is great. These people really know how to live life. Yeah. And you remember that girl that was in front? I never forgot. That girl was mad because she was like, she tells her husband, they're smoking puros right behind me. And I mean, I'm not lying to you. Between me, you, and Mike, it looked like a cloud of smoke coming behind that poor lady. Yeah. And she's like, make them stop. And he was like, what do you want me to do? I'm smoking cigarettes. So it's just like who am I to tell them not to smoke? And they're like, and you just move, kid. So it's just like, and it was just great. But I think it was it felt like an old country. Like that whole. Like that's one thing I said about Spain. Like they let their men be men. You know what I'm saying? There was no
weird
there was
gender,
right? Yeah, it was all like we had to be masculine. Yeah, we had to be. We're all masculine there, and it was all like
they're proud of that.
And
women are women. Yeah, graceful.
That's one thing I was noticed, that the Spanish women are so feminine, so very elegant. You know what I'm saying, and everything else, and in the way the behavior, and how courteous they are, and how talkative they are with people, even strangers and stuff like that. They know how to hold their own, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just different, different atmosphere. But
remember the almonds, instead of popcorn in the stands, they have like
Spanish
paper
almonds.
cones with like their toasted almonds. And I was just like, yes.
Yeah. And I remember y'all loved that. And they had there's so much great stuff from the old country, like I really see why these traditions like lasted for so long, because it's just, they know how to grab you,
And then the next day we see the first encierro. So over there, the actual running of the bulls takes place every day for like the next 7 days, I think.
Yeah, it's every day for like, it's only like a 2 minute.
And it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, their time.
You remember we got there at 6 because we wanted to get a
good seat. But I was worried because, like, by the time we got there, it was all crowded, and so I had no intention of. I split up from you and Mike.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you got caught up in it.
Yeah, because I was like, man, I came all this way. I can't get a good spot. Man, I'm just gonna jump in here and run because they let anyone run.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but you assume the risk, like you could get killed.
See, now that was funny because. It was like I heard this story was different because you see how it changes in miles. Like from what when Mike told me, he said you went to go get a baguette or something, a French baguette, like a Spanish bread over there, and when you realized he came out of the stores were all locked up, and you were in the middle of it. You're like, oh crap! No, that's what he told me. As he told me, he made his own story up, but he was like, yeah. So Lou's running with this bread away from the bulls, and I'm like laughing. I said, holy shit, that's funny, because we were looking for you. We're like, he's already in there, and I'm like, oh my god, he ran, and I'm like,
and I say run. So basically, my whole point was just to jump in there to get like pictures and experience, and I was gonna jump back out, but I was like,
you couldn't get out
here. I couldn't get out.
Yeah, you can't get out once you're in.
So I had a strategy.
You got to commit.
People don't realize ESPN used to air the running of the bulls live, and so in America that would be like at 2 a.m. Because I remember me and my dad would watch it. We would stay up that late to watch it. They had the analysts like ring it, read it like the boxers, right? Yeah. Oh, this bull is with this weight. Yeah. Like give them all the stats like from this farm, and they would show the very traditional route. Yeah. I forget how long it is, but I remember always remembering there's this one famous turn. You don't want to be on the outside.
Dead man's corner. Yeah.
Yeah, dead man's corner or something like that. Because the bulls sometimes will slide and hit against the wall.
Yeah.
And if you're on that side, you'll get crushed by a bull.
Right, because the streets there are old. They're
and the cobblestone.
Yeah. So what happens is that it's like in the morning you have that fog.
Yeah.
And it gets misty, so it gets slippery. So the shoes got to be right. But you know, bulls, they don't wear any shoes. So what happens is they go in full speed. That's a ton of animal coming at you, and it slips the wrong way. And what happens is that corner, it's like a 90-degree angle.
Yep.
And once that bull starts sliding, they could have 4. I've seen it where they had 3 or 4 bulls slide at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you're in that corner, oh, bud, you're dead.
You're done.
You're done. Yeah. That's why
and they
it's
have
called
medics stationed throughout the
everywhere.
route.
You remember, like I've never seen so many ambulances in like it looked like they were like ready for a mass shootout or something. It's just crazy how many they had an ambulance in almost every if it was every block they'd had at least 2 or 3 in every block. It was just crazy, and it was like they were ready. They were like, I've never seen so many people ready just for whatever happened. And they were, and the minute somebody got hurt, they'd jump over, lift you up, and take you to the ambulance and rolled out. You know, and it's crazy.
And so, I was past that dead man's turn or whatever. I don't even know if that's a term.
Smart.
And so, what you have to really consider, because I'm a big guy, I can't really run that much. Not only do you get to contend with the bull, you're really more worried about the guy next to you, because it's a whole stampede of guys.
They're not looking.
Mostly.
They're not looking. They're turning backwards.
All it takes is like one guy in front of you to fall down and everyone falls down. So I knew that when the pressure started building with bodies, it's like, oh man, the bulls are right by me, and I probably ran like half a block, and then found one opening that I just like kind of ducked off, and just didn't even want to be right in the open and just watch the bulls run. And then you try to chase them back into the arena, because it always ends in like the bullfighting ring. But like at some points, like the police or whoever block off certain parts of the route, because they don't want everyone just like
going in,
funneling into the arena. So it's like if you don't make it, like you're just stuck right there. That's it.
Yeah.
But then we watched another
those are the 2 danger
bullfight.
points. The dead man's corner and the entrance to the arena, because the entrance to the arena is narrow.
It's like
it's not narrow, but it's narrow when you got all those people and all those bulls coming at the same time, going through one door. Even though it's a double door, it's a big door. It because of all those bodies, it's like everybody's just like cramming in there. And I've seen more accidents through that door than the dead man's corner, because what happens is everybody's so afraid of what's behind them. And they're looking back. The minute you look back, you're done. And it's like, and then it's always somebody else that, you know, Trump just falls, and then the next thing you know, they grab onto you, and then everybody's grabbing. It's just everybody falls, and then it's like the next thing you know, it's like you just better hope that the bull's not behind you. That's it. You know, so it's crazy.
So we do that. That's the first encierro. And for anyone interested, because obviously they have controversy to this day. Like there are people over there that want to end that practice. It's not humane against animals. But you can watch on YouTube on RTVE. That's like the Spanish national TV or something. I guess it's like their version of ABC or NBC or something like that. They air it every year on YouTube live. And then you can watch the video afterwards. And it's like they even have bets. Remember, like some of the hotels had like you could place bets on how long each running will be. So like they get into it. And then the next day, we talked to who was the concierge at the hotel we stayed. Javier, right? Yeah. Shout out to Javier. I forget the hotel. We asked him like, dude, we need to find a balcony, because that's an awesome way to experience it.
Yeah, that's actually
you're above the trail, and you can just watch all the madness below.
So what happens is these people they have these apartments in the trail, and they have these balconies that overhang the trail. And how they make their rent most of the times is that they'll charge you $100, $100 to that person. Guess what? They got their months for free. And it's helping local people. Not only you're helping their economy, but you're helping them pay their rent. And I mean, remember those girls that we walked into? One of them was still sleeping. One girl walked in there out of the pajamas.
7 in the morning or something.
Yeah, she was like, "Hey, how are y'all doing?" She's like, "It's like this girl's in his pajamas still." And she's like, "Hey," she's like, "Are y'all ready? Where y'all coming from?" It's like, New Orleans. Oh, great. Blah blah blah. I'm so glad that y'all came. And next thing you know, they brings us out to this little balcony that just me, you, and Mike fed. You know, and then we're just hanging out, and they came outside to hang out with us too. And next thing you know, where they were explaining to us like everything, like the running, and it was just like it was a great way of experiencing, because you really felt like you were close to the danger, but far enough to it where you like I said, you can smell the bull's breath, but you can't. You're not in the ground where you have to worry about it getting hit. You know, because her balcony was a little bit lower than everybody else's, so we were close, but we weren't that close where,
So we were basically past that right hand or hard right corner, that 90-degree corner, and we were on the straightaway.
Right.
And we were kind of like in the middle, I guess.
Great location.
And dude, we were fortunate to witness something that's very rare.
Yeah.
Most of the time, bulls just run right through, and that's it.
Yeah, we had that
But
long
what
wolf.
happened?
The long wolf bull. Yeah, they had that long wolf bull. What they call them? They basically basically they stop, and they normally don't stop, because that's why they send those other bulls in, the ones that are a little bit more calmer, the ones that are. So just to let anybody know that if you ever see those bulls that are different colored ones, those are ones that are more docile, but they run forward and they don't stop
to help the momentum
go, because the other bulls, animals, they follow each other, so they're there to kind of like lead the other bulls into the arena, but they always got that long wolf. It's very rare it happens, but that one bull that stops, and man, when that sucker stopped, he made mayhem, dude. You remember? I was like, oh shit, this dude stopped. You remember he was pounding.
Yeah, so there was one bull that like stopped, and the most dangerous part of that running is if a bull stops and goes backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where problems can come about. So we saw this bull, and like people are trying to like shoo him. They have what they call the shepherds. These guys in green shirts with the long sticks to kind of like get them to let's keep going forward. But this bull just did not want to. Like he fell and slipped.
Yeah,
and then he like threw someone.
Yeah, and then he didn't want to go no more, and he was just like, so he finally, after like battering rammed a couple of people, they finally got him to start running again, and he started.
They had
running.
one guy like trying to get him to track. Like, come on, let's go. And
that one dude that he got hit. Hit.
I'm gonna try, Nick. Remind me, maybe because we have some of that video that we captured. Maybe try to embed it within this. If not,
that poor. I never forgot that poor guy. The guy with the mullet. You remember that? The European mullet.
Yeah.
Man, that guy got slung, brother. I was like, whoo. Yeah. But you know what? It's funny because I was like, he walked away. He was like.
That's the risk people take.
Yeah, I think the animal flung him, but the thing is, like, I think what you don't want to get hit is with the horns. The horns are like that's you don't want to get you don't get cut by one of those things, man. Them things get hurt you, But that guy just got flung, which it looked like it just headbutted him, and he went flying. But then he got up and started running again, and I was like, talking about a near life death experience. I was like, that dude was probably like, I don't know if I'm going to do this next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man.
So that was, again, and I think like I watch it every year. I don't think there's been an instance like that since.
No.
And that was
7
years ago.
Yeah, when
that
Obama
was 7 years ago.
First, you remember when he was president?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, everyone wanted to ask us like politics.
Yeah. No,
Europeans love talking politics.
Yeah, but that day was all about San Fermines. That's the thing I loved about it, and they I never forgot about that, They actually it was a great festival, man. That was one of those festivals that are going to stay with me in life. Like you have to. I always tell people, I recommend them. It's like, look, if you're going to go to Spain, try to go to at least one festival. But if you can, try to go to that festival. If you're a partier, if you like Mardi Gras and stuff like that, I definitely recommend Pamplona.
But there were aspects of that festival that were even kid friendly, right? When you go like away from like the party scene,
right?
Remember, we saw like families that would go out in the streets, have their tables.
Yeah, because you remember they had these those big like
Los Gigantes.
puppets. Yeah, the Gigantes, which are like these huge tall puppets with like all the different like the different nations. Like when
they had the Moors, they had
and then
Christians,
they had the Christians, and they had all that stuff. And
knights and stuff.
The knights, and there was like a big like it's almost like a float, but it was human floats that were just tall and. It was great, man. It was fun, and then you saw how very close the Spanish are to the families. Like the kids are very tight and very strong, family oriented country. So yeah, it was great.
So then from there we leave the next day.
We stayed 2 days. Remember, we stayed there for 2 days because we wanted to stay longer, but because we didn't have the hotel. Look, if y'all
it's booked,
if you don't, we booked our hotel
in March.
6 or 4 months ahead because I remember I told you if we don't book this way ahead, Hell, I think we booked the hotel before we booked
Yeah, you got to. Yeah.
before we booked the tickets.
Yeah.
Remember? Because I said if we don't get the hotel, we're sleeping in the parks.
And people do that.
And people do that, but I ain't doing that. You know, I was like, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not that much of a, I'm not that much of a crazy nut, man. You know, and if you ever think that you're gonna get a hotel or somebody is gonna let you in by courteous, you think wrong. Trust me, there's probably thousands of people that outside the streets sleeping in the parks because they forgot to book their hotel, and you're stuck. I mean, you can't even find a roach hotel for cheap at that time. It's all booked. Nothing. You got nothing. But it was great, man. And yeah, from there we went to San Sebastian.
Yeah, so I'm sure people who watch Anthony Bourdain or other travel shows, they've featured this town called San Sebastian or Saint Sebastian. So Pamplona is, I guess, the beginning of the Basque country, who have their own culture, their own language. People don't even know where they descended because it's like their genetics are very unique. They don't know if they're like Visigoths, or Romans.
It doesn't. I know when they did the history, it doesn't pertain to any European language. Period. Not Latin. Nothing. They don't.
Even like sentence structure is like totally different.
Yeah, it's
syntax.
They don't know where it came from. They don't know where it's from. They just know that these people have been there for generations. And yeah, they're different.
And then, so we go to San Sebastian, which is like the heart of Basque country, known for like the best cuisine.
Oh yeah,
the pinchos, what they call, right?
Yeah, which is basically just
like
tapas.
tapas.
But just that's how they call it in their language. It's Basque. That's what they call tapas. Is pinchos.
Remember that dessert you told me that we need to get? It was like the first dessert we got.
Yeah, it was like.
And I'll put a picture, hopefully.
There was that almond
almond
cheesecake or something. It was it's incredible. Yeah.
Okay, so we stay like a few days in San Sebastian. Then we take the bus to Burgos.
Yeah, Burgos. Yeah, nobody really visits Burgos, and it's got a lot of history there too. El Cid, one of the famous warriors from the Reconquista. That's where he was from, and I think that's where he's buried. Right?
Something like his sword is there or something.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, and it's a very small town. Got the greatest lamb I've ever had.
So what's the deal with the lamb there?
So the lamb, they have these baby lambs that they cook, and I never forgot it. Remember that the little place was across the street from the church, the guy that cooks it. This guy only opens up for a couple of hours. I think it's from like 12
lunchtime.
to like 1 o'clock. It's like almost 12 to 4.
Well, the Spanish lunch is usually later in the day. Usually starts around 2 or 3
Yeah, but
PM.
he doesn't do dinners. He just does the lunch, and that's it. And from when I was talking to him, and I was like, man, I heard about this place. And he's like, oh, that's me. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, so let me ask you something. What do you use? And he said, oh, man, I use wood. He says, I grab a lot of two of the wood from the Roja region, which is the
famous wine region.
Yeah, he grabs the old wine branches, and he also cooks the lambs inside those. He cooks the lamb with those branches and the leaves, and it gives it that like wine quality to it too. And then this lamb, the reason why it's so good is supposedly because it's been eating nothing but rosemary and thyme almost all its life, so it's eating herbs. So all you really need to do is salt it, and they cook it in these slow ovens. And let me tell you something, man. When you ate those lamb chops, it was like divine. It's heavenly. It was like, what is going on here? Where does this lamb come from? And can I get some more? And it's the worst thing is like when I was there next to these couple, and
they were German,
family.
Right?
No. The people that were next to me were German, but the people that were across from me were from Israel.
Okay.
Now, Israel's got good lamb too, but they heard about this lamb from their friends from Israel, and this, that's just word of mouth. And it's just like, lady was like, I heard about his lamb, and I got to try it. I mean, from what everybody's telling me, it's one of the best places to eat lamb, period. And I was like, okay. And I was, I was going with that mentality, like, okay, it's going to be good, but I wasn't expecting that, brother. I wasn't expecting that thing to like.
So it naturally tasted like rosemary.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't season it with rosemary, it's because it ate rosemary plants its whole life.
Thyme, and I never had a freaking lamb that almost dissolved in my mouth, brother. It was just that soft. It was like, oh my God. It was like the Iberico ham of lamb. I was like, what is in this lamb? You know, it's like if you'd have put me in a bunch of 20 plates around it, I would probably eat them all. There's a, you know how lamb chops are a little small, but man, that thing was just oh my God. Yeah. Plus, another thing about Burgos that people don't know about it, that's actually where the Good and the Bad, the Ugly had that cemetery with the three-man. You remember the 3-man standoff between Tunco, the bad cowboy, and Clint Eastwood? Well, most of that film, even though they call it the spaghetti,
was Granada.
No, that's Burgos.
Oh, it was in Burgos.
So you remember that cemetery when he kills the guy? It was a three-man standing.
Yeah.
And then after that, after he kills him, he tells him to go look for the gold, and Tunco starts going crazy, running around. Yeah, well, you remember the whole thing. You found that the unknown grave and all that.
Of gold.
Well, dude, yeah, exactly. Well, it's in Burgos. That place is in Burgos. They actually have tours that go to that place, and for every year when the movie came out, they actually have they have they have these 3 like guys playing the roles, and and they do it like by it's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
And so from Burgos, which is like in the north central, I guess, part of Spain. We take the bus to Salamanca.
Yeah.
And that's like the home of that, you mentioned it, the famous Iberian ham.
Yeah.
Jamón ibérico.
Yeah, jamón ibérico.
And what do they call it? Pelota?
Pelota, yeah.
That means like acorn?
Yeah.
Because they're finished on acorns?
Yeah, so these pigs, they eat acorns and truffles all their life, which that tells you right there what kind of meat you're going to have when you eat this thing. And then they salt them for what? 3 months or something. I forgot how many, or 3 years. I think it's 3 years, or something like that. And they have this incredible flavor. I mean, that is like, it really like just dissolves in your mouth. I mean, you remember we put it on our hand and it would just like
start to almost melt.
I mean, you could just like, if you rub it, it was gone. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. It's just like, it's an experience, man. It's like, I tell people, you're a foodie and you don't go to Spain, so
shame on you.
Shame on you.
So what's cool about like the ham experience and the way they treat it over there, you'll find like these legs of ham hanging up in these shops just out in the open.
Right.
And they have like these little cups, like it's like almost like a little funnel.
Well, they
with like a stick, and they stick like it under the.
They look
the
like
ham.
the paper cups that we have when we're getting those. When we have that fountain, they're basically the same thing. They're little cones
with like this little protrusion of a stick that they stick under the ham. And what is that? What's the purpose of that?
That catches all the oil because it's sweating all the time. It's sweating the oil off, and they even use it to cook eggs and fries, and that's the only ham in the world, I think, that has all the high omegas that's actually good for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's actually not only it's tasty, but it's actually good for you.
I don't know. Maybe might be controversy with that, but
but look, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care if it was bad for my health, I would still eat it. But that let you know that it's good for your health. It makes you eat more of it, It's like, why not? It's good for you. Let's eat some more, And
then 2 other things I remember from Salamanca. It's more of a university town.
Yeah.
So you have these famous like students that, in order to raise money, they dress up and play like these old medieval songs in the famous Plaza Mayor.
Yeah, cantados. Yeah, they sing like their old songs and stuff like that. They dress up in the old Renaissance kind of outfits and stuff like that, and they're there for couples. They're wooing their wives or women or girlfriends and stuff like it's. And you got to remember, like, and it was the only plaza that was completely different because
that was probably the best Plaza Mayor.
Yeah, because it was like it was out of granite. It was like some kind of granite or some kind of like stone or something that was different from all the other plazas, which is beautiful. You remember, this is a beautiful city. It was
and then they light it up every night at a certain hour.
It had
the
that
whole
certain
thing's
color.
illuminated. Yeah.
It had that certain color to it that was just different, So it was a beautiful town. Beautiful town. Yeah. And then we left to there to go to Granada.
So we rent a car to make the drive from Salamanca, which is like a northwest almost.
What was that? A Fiat that we had? It was like
it was like a small car.
Yeah, dude. That was like 3 big guys in one car. It looked like
typical
clowns.
Fat Americans.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God. Yeah. It was like, and believe it or not, when I looked at the car, I was like, oh, Lou, they don't have like, this is their mid-sized car. Like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. I said, at least I think you did, maybe a little bit bigger, but he was like, no, dude, this or the Euro bus, that little skinny, crazy looking bus that they have. So I was like, I guess it's this, but it was comfortable. I remember.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I mean, because I think the seats go in deep and, we're comfortable. Remember? Yeah.
Remember Avila?
But you remember we smoked. You remember?
Yeah.
All the way?
Yeah.
Because we Well, Lou was like, I think, what did he just say? I think it was like a €20 fine for smoking. I was like, I'll just pay it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Man, Lou,
because that was a long drive. I think that was like 8 to 12 hours. I
it was a long drive. And the reason why I was telling people, like, why don't you just take the train? Well, unfortunately, from Salamanca to Granada, there's no direct train. So you have to go back to Madrid, backtrack, and then go that way, which
we could have done.
We could have done, but it's just.
But we like the experience of driving and
right.
seeing the
We wanted to
countryside.
see the countryside, and remember we went to the Sierra. It was beautiful, man. It was
Yeah.
beautiful mountains there. That area was just real.
So we
scenic.
did a pit stop in Avila
Yeah.
for lunch.
Mhm.
Remember those huge steaks?
Veal.
Oh, it was veal?
Yes, veal.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Mhm.
So that was kind of cool. It was like almost like a medieval walled city.
Right. It was beautiful. It's a lot of old people there too. Old people there, 90s and
Yeah.
live forever, man. And,
Yeah.
And but do you remember how tranquil that place was? It was like, oh, you just hear the birds chirping and just it's just like you can. It's like the world stopped at that little town. It was just like this. It just didn't seem busy. It just seemed it's I guess quaint. What we were talking about, just very calm.
Yeah.
We got to try their pastries. You remember
The yema.
Yeah.
Remember the yema? That's where I was
pastry.
introduced to that.
Yeah.
So yema means yolk in
Yeah.
Spanish.
Mhm.
And that's in reference to like this yellow looking,
It's a pastry that's made from
it's
the
like
egg
a
yolk.
sugary, kind
Really
of
good.
nice little pastry.
Mm-hmm.
So then we end up in Granada. We see the, what was it? The Alhambra
Yeah, the Alhambra.
in Granada. And so that's in the heart of what we call Andalusia.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the south of Spain. That's like the stereotypical
Right.
Spain.
Mm-hmm.
See the
The last
flamenco, the
Muslim stronghold.
gypsies.
Yeah, the last Muslim stronghold. Like that was the last city to get conquered, I believe. That was the last Muslim stronghold in the era. Mhm.
Remember everyone in the north when they heard that we were going down to Andalusia, they're like, "Oh man, y'all are crazy,"
Yeah,
because it was like 100+ degrees down at that time in July.
yeah. Like we're from New Orleans. We were used to
Yeah.
heat. They were different. It was different heat, but we were used to the heat.
And that's where I learned if you do the tapas thing at night, if you pay for alcohol like a beer, they give you a free plate.
That's the
Or
only
food.
place you can get a free tapa.
Yeah,
With
in
your
Granada.
wine and your drinks. Yeah, that's the only. They like people now. Remember, you're not gonna get what you want. They're gonna give you free tapas in Granada, but
Whatever
it's-
the
but-
house tapa is.
Right, exactly. But it might be tomatoes and like cooked tomatoes with something. Or when we got there, remember it was eggplant with molasses,
Oh,
like a
that
honey
was so good,
molasses,
yeah.
which is very good. But
What do
that
they
was,
call it? Berenjenas?
Yeah, berenjenas or something like
Is
that.
eggplant?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then from there we go to Seville, right? From
Yeah.
Granada we go
Yeah,
to
went to
Seville.
Seville right after that.
And
You fell in love with the city.
yeah, that one famous night you were alluding to in the last hour.
Yeah. But what we had to tell everybody, if you ever get a chance to go to Seville, there's a hotel there called Las Casa de Judíos, which is Jewish house. Juderia, yes.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a hotel. There's a bunch of blocks that have been taken, and it's like supposedly it's like where Columbus brought the first Native American to stay. And you could actually stay at that room if you wanted to. And then you remember on the bottom of the hotel, it had all the old Roman aqueducts. I mean, aqueducts,
the
spas.
Yeah.
And we actually got to stay there. And me and you, we had a good time. I mean, because they would
So we
serve
cross
us.
the river
Yeah,
and go to the Triana neighborhood.
yeah.
And you fell in love with this one spot because they were playing the flamenco or the guitar.
Well, there's music, and I heard this woman singing, and I could hear it from a block away. It was angelic. It was beautiful. Remember, we were like, "Where's the sound coming from?" And walked in. There was a bar, and funny as the girl's name was Carmen that was singing.
Yeah.
Remember, and
Like the opera.
Yeah, we
Like
just sat.
Bizet's Carmen.
You just sat there and just listened to her all day, and then from there we became friends with her. Remember, and then they took us to that other bar called Los Martinez, and that's when.
So that's the gypsy bar.
Yeah, that's where we and you.
That was like kind of, it's not rough, but like it was off the beaten path.
Yeah.
We go in there and it's like crazy. People are dancing
we're the
and
only
sweating.
Americans there, remember?
Yeah.
Because everybody there was locals. Everybody
Yeah.
there was like, they were all gypsies and Spaniards and stuff like that. But man, they were partying, brother.
Yeah.
They were
because we were a little drunk when we left that first bar.
Yeah,
we still wanted to party, and they told us, "Hey, we'll take you to this gypsy bar."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first walked in there, I see everyone like smoking cigarettes mostly. I'm like, wait a minute, I thought there was a national law where you couldn't smoke. And I asked someone that, like,
not with the gypsies.
Yeah, we're gypsies.
They
we don't
break the
care.
rules. Exactly.
So I like started
She was
tearing
like-
up. Can I smoke my cigar? I was like, yeah, of course.
Hey, dude,
I was
Lou.
like teared to my eye.
Yeah,
Like
heavens
up.
opened up for Lou.
Yeah.
Oh. That's all it took when he said he could smoke your cigar in here. He was like, I like this place.
And the bar owner was like this older lady, also named Carmen.
yeah.
And she was like a former opera singer.
No,
or
she was a
something
former flamenco
Oh,
singer.
okay.
Also,
Yeah, yeah.
She was very famous in her time. I forget her last name, Carmen something, but she opened up the place, and it was.
Dude, we drank so much Legendario rum.
Jeez, we ran
Legendario and Coke.
Yeah, we ran
Like
them out.
Coca-Cola, not
we
the
ran
drug.
them out of it. You remember? She
Yeah.
was like, "There is no more Legendario." I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Like, man, how drunk were we, man? But
So we
people
left
were-
at like 7 a.m. because it was all dark in there. You couldn't tell time.
Yeah. And then when they opened the door, we saw daylight. We're like, "Oh!"
And we had to make the train back to Madrid.
Ugh, that was rough,
Yeah.
dude. Then Mike didn't let us sleep because he was like, "You're gonna miss the train." We're almost to the point where like, "I'll pay for the extra test. I don't feel like going nowhere, Mike." You're just crazy. He's just like, who books a train train at like 9 in the morning?
I know.
Dude? Only that dude, you know.
So we go to Madrid and we do like the final food tour. Tell me about the old man, Amadeus, his famous restaurant there.
Oh yeah, so I took y'all to the old region. So what a lot of people don't understand is like how did Gus know a lot about Spain? Well, the first time I went to Spain wasn't with these guys. It was with me and my girlfriend at the time, and she had to leave. She lived in Philadelphia. I lived in New Orleans, and when we had so she left, and I was like, okay, cool. So that's when New Orleans got hit with the
Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, so I couldn't go back home because the airport was flooded. So they told me, they said, hey, just stay there. And I'm like, I don't know anybody here. They said, no, what hotel you staying at? FEMA's going to take care of it. So I was like, yes. So I ended up staying longer in Spain, and that's how I got to know the Rostro region of Madrid. I really stayed more in Madrid than anywhere. Fell in love with the city. People there were great, and I got to know all the little
like the famous food spots.
I knew the spots. Like I knew these spots now that are now all these YouTubers go. Like I think the places I took you to out of like the 12, they're all those top 10s are always the same ones
featured on YouTube. Yeah.
on YouTube, but they're always the top 10. And it was just like, man, when I was going there, those were always just the places that the locals went. And I just got lucky that I had a couple locals that were like, oh, you need to come here with me. You need to try this. You need to try that. So they're very proud of their cuisine and they're very proud of their places. So they showed me all these places and it was just great, man. But that's when I took y'all were like, this is incredible, man. We went to all these great places.
So I'm looking at the picture of Casa Amadeo, Los Caracoles.
Yeah.
That's what he's famous for.
Yeah, he's famous for that.
And that's what I found intriguing about the restaurant scene in Spain, especially when it's like a mom and pop or a private enterprise.
Right.
They really focused on one dish.
Right.
And they did it for generations, so like they perfected it.
Yeah, it's like they got their star dish. That's like they have other different tapas, but that's the difference with every tapa place that you go to. They're known for this one thing, and that's what you go eat there. So people do these tapa crawls where they go for. The problem is that you got to be. You have to have
can't
restraint.
indulge in one.
Yeah, you got to eat one
spot,
and then
just a little bit.
go to the next spot, and then that's how you do a crawl. Like it's like a beer crawl. You go from one spot, you drink this one beer, then you go to another place, and that's how it is. Well, in the tapa crawl, you go to this one place, you eat that one, and then you go to the next spot. But yeah, don't order like a bunch of dishes from different places. You jump from one place to the next, and it actually is good because you get to meet different people, hang out, talk to different people from other nations, and just have a good time.
So what was cool about Casa Amadeo, it's manned by this old gentleman.
Yeah.
Describe him.
Amadeus. He is 4'2". If I say really tall, that's about the big, short little man. Now, he runs his kitchen. I mean, like a general.
military.
Yeah, he's straight up. He's harsh on his workers, but he's very perfectionist, But he's the sweetest man in the world. I mean, he is so kind, very, very. And I remember and Lou likes characters. I know that for a fact of knowing you.
Yeah.
And he comes in and I say, hey, Amadeus, remember me? I came from a long time ago. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah. He's like, come, sit. And he just sits down with me. He's like, and it's like, I'm coming here to tell him about the best dishes that you have. And I told him about you have to have the caracoles. And he was like,
so what is that dish?
so it's like it's snails, right? I think it's basically, and they're cooked in this like pork broth with paprika and this and these sausages and all this other stuff. But
Chorizo.
the chorizo and all that, which gives it that red flavor. It's a reddish color and everything. It gives it all that flavor, and you eat them and you pick them with the toothpicks and you eat them, and then you drink the broth, and he's over there telling you this is how you do it, and he's great. He just rips bread and he just dunk it, eat it. I'm like, he was such a funny character. You were like passionate. Laughing. He was very passionate about it. And then I told him, I said, hey, Amadeus, remember when I came here the first time? You also had pig feet. Oh, hold up. I'm glad you told me. Like, brought it out. You remember he didn't even charge us for it. Try it. And we ate it and was like, man, this is really good. I mean, everything he had, but he was such a character, man. He was so lively. Yeah. And first time I saw Mike smile because he was just laughing so much, he was a character. I mean, Amadeus is one of those people, like, if you ever get a chance, I hope he's still living. I mean, he's got to
be in his 90s maybe right now.
Yeah, but you remember what I told him? I said, I told one of the workers, man, I was so worried because, I mean, Amadeus is old, and I was worried that he was not going to be there when I went, and he says his anger alone will keep him alive for another 100 years. He was laughing. I was like, but actually, Amadeus is from Burgos.
Oh,
and that's what I told him. That's why I really wanted to go to Burgos, because when I sat down the first time when I was in Madrid, he was telling me about his beautiful place called Burgos and others, and that's when I was like, and so I told him, and he was like, yeah, look, he's like, they says like everybody that's from there eats lamb, and that's why I almost looked like one. Look, he's a sharp in his face. He was a hilarious guy, but yeah, he was really excited. He was a real lovely person to be with and hang out with, and those are the things that kind of, I think it's also not just, it's the people that you meet when you're out there that makes everything great, Yeah.
And then we cap off the night. You and I go to the opera at the Teatro Real, they call it, the Royal Theater.
Yeah.
And who did we see?
Placido Domingo,
yeah. That was fun, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. Yeah. Doing the whole opera experience there, and then we cap it.
With the greatest dinner after. I mean,
let's say it.
I mean, we went, there's this restaurant. Now they changed the name, I think, to the nephew or something. What is it called?
It's Sobrino de Botín.
De Botín.
And that's like the famous restaurant that all these like Anthony Bourdain types go in Madrid. It's supposedly the oldest operating restaurant in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it was built started like 1760 something.
Yeah. It's old. And we went in there, and normally you need to get like some kind of like, you need to get reservation. Yeah. I walked in there and swindled my way into a table.
Silver tongue Gus.
Well, hey, look, I told him, I said, listen, I'm coming from far. I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to go to Madrid or Spain and everything else, And I
pleaded them.
And I pleaded him. I said, listen, my friend here needs to try the lamb here. He needs to experience it, everything. The pork, the lamb, especially the cochinito, and everything else. And he was like, I said, listen, could you do me anything? Do me any table. I don't care if it's in the kitchen. And he started laughing. He says, I got you. Don't worry. How many people is it, first of all? I said, just 2. I could do 2. He says, I'm going to squeeze you in. And we had somebody that got canceled at the last second. So he said, you could take their table. So he brought us upstairs and we ate. And God,
so we got like, you and I ordered like, one person ordered the famous suckling pig.
Yeah, which was me. And then you ordered the lamb.
The lamb, and we shared it.
Yeah, and it was delicious.
I'm looking at the menu from our picture I took. It was founded in 1725, and it's the oldest restaurant in the world according to the Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah. On Calle de Cuchilleros, number 17 in Madrid.
Yeah. And we had that was one of the best meals. I mean, that's memorable. That's a memorable meal.
And it wasn't that expensive considering like how famous it is.
Yeah. It's just harder to get in.
It's hard
to get in because it's one of those places that you normally got to pre-book them.
And they had these potatoes with it.
Yeah, they sipped into the juices of. Oh my God, I don't even think about it right now.
I know,
getting hungry all over again.
I know. I'm looking at the pictures of.
That was a great time. My God, yeah. The sangria there. Oof.
Yeah,
we had a good time. I mean, that was a great place to be. The people were I mean, the guy was gracious enough to let us in. You remember?
Yeah, because we weren't planning on it.
Yeah,
And we just decided, hey, let's just take a chance.
You were like, Silver Tongue Gus did it again. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was, and you remember he took us down to the cave to show us the wines and all the old wines and everything else. And it was just, he showed us the oven, how old that oven was. And I was like, man, all those pigs they had lined up for cooking. I was like, wow. Yeah. This is incredible, man.
Remember there was a storefront next to that restaurant that had this sign that said Hemingway was not here.
Yeah, I was like,
everything's Hemingway over there.
But that place too was near that place where I took you to, where you had the famous mushrooms. You remember Championes?
Oh yeah.
You say other Championes. It's right around there too. So we were like, I mean, we had a great meal, dude. That was a perfect nightcap because think about it. We went to go see The Man, Placido Domingo. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I forgot what opera it was too.
Yeah, I don't remember, but he sung a bunch of his great ones too. That's my second time I saw him. First time I saw him with my dad when he came to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I did not know that he started his career. His first operas were in New Orleans. I didn't know that. I don't know if he started his career, but I knew that he started when he was young in New Orleans as a singer too. So that was so he came back to kind of do that. So it was just kind of nice how we had that New Orleans connection and everything else, and came back and, man, it was a great night, man. That was a great night.
Yeah. And then we left the next day back to the States. You want to talk about what happened? And because we split up, like you had to go to Canada.
Yeah. So
what happened? So you want to recount your story with the meats?
So we had Turkish Airways, and now the first thing, if you remember, we told you that we had we got there when the bombing went through. And then we get the news, and they're having a coup d'état
in Turkey.
Because we had to go we had to go back from Madrid to Turkey.
Yeah, on the way back.
Because our plan was to see Turkey twice in that trip, remember? Mm-hmm. You see it the first time, then the second time, but that didn't kind of work out the way we wanted to. So we had to change our flights because we didn't want to go to an area. Obviously, they're having a coup d'etat. I mean, they had tanks rolling in the streets and everything in Istanbul. We're like, dude, this is not good. So we talked to the Turkish Airlines, and they said, we'll reroute you. So they asked you where you were going. You said Miami. I told them I'm going back to New Orleans. Mm. So we split. So I had to take the later flight, and y'all took the earlier one, I think it was, or however it was. But I had to go to Toronto, fly into Toronto, and
so what happened at customs there?
God, look, I mean, I have nothing against the Canadians, but I'm bringing in all this imported meat. And it wasn't like I had a lot. I had a little bit. And they said, you can't bring that in the country. And I said, well, it's not staying in Canada. It's coming back with me to New Orleans. They're like, well, you got to toss it. And I said, oh, okay. So I opened the damn bag and I ate all the freaking Iberico ham in front of them. No! I said in the trash. It'll be in the trash soon. The guy was like, nutbag. He was like looking at me. He started laughing. And he's like, I spent $30 in this ham. I'm eating it, and I just ate it in front of him. I mean, it's like he said, you lucky I'm in a good mood. He said, now we put you in jail. I'm like, okay. It's like, sorry. I was like, I said, in my country, I said, when you say toss it, that means eat it fast. So I was like, he's like, I made some bullshit story. I was like, so I ate all behind woman Berico in front of the freaking, cop. He was laughing at me. He was like,
by God, if you'll take my jamón ibérico.
You ain't taking my jamón ibérico. I'm taking it with me to my stomach, baby. Because that was the one that we brought from Salamanca. And I'm like, that was a very good blend. And I'm like,
it's expensive too for like a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I know I can eat that real quick. God damn it, I'm going to throw it in the trash. It's crazy.
You ate the meat.
And I'm pretty sure those guys are going to take it and then you probably eat it with cheese. And I'm like, you're not eating on me. Yep. Sorry, buddy. So I ate my ham. And that was it. It was like then the next day I get on a flight to New Orleans. Yeah, it was.
And that's that.
That's that, man. It was good. It was
and because of that, like I fell in love with the country. You were an awesome tour guide, and I've been like back 3 times since. So.
Yeah, Spain's a great country. Italy and France gets a real big like hey go there, but I think
dude, but the word's out. Spain is the place to go.
I know. Now I'm scared because it's like shit. Now it's like
for the price, it's very cheap.
Yeah. So if
good quality, because I went to Italy in '99 with David Lesh, and don't get me wrong, the food is incredible.
Oh yeah,
but it's more expensive comparing it to Spain.
But and I tell people about the thing I liked about Spain is that high quality food, really good food, and because of the tapas, you could try a bunch of dishes, real small dishes between your friends. and get to try everybody's cuisine. You know, that's the thing, the beauty of the Tapa, you know, stuff, because you go to places probably like Italy and other places, I'm pretty sure you just got to have a plate of meal. And you'll ever seen where you go, Lucas, what is he having?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know, you might not go to that restaurant that same day. But the thing with the tapas is that
you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and then you go, hey, what is he having? He's having the octopus. Bring that tapa here too. Yeah. And he's like, and so you're able to eat a bunch of little meals and try the cuisine more. I think we got to try more food when we were in Spain because of the tapas than anything else.
Right.
So that was awesome. You know?
And even like going back to San Sebastian, that old man that saw us like enjoying the tapas, he's like, hey, come with me. Like, let me show you. Like, he was an ambassador for his city.
Yeah.
And took us to the spots where we should go, where the locals go.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, what he loved about us was, one, we were passionate about our food, and two, that he saw we were cigar smokers.
Yeah, we had our cigar.
Hint, you know, smokes really do well over there. So
the great ambassador tool.
Great ambassador. Yeah, this is the door opener to every nation, you know. And then I tell people, if you're a cigar smoker, we look out for our own. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what color, what nationality, we look out for our own. So it's like, you know, you could be talking real bad about the guy for a while, and then you see he's smoking his cigar. He's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Well, Gus, we're going to leave it there. It was an awesome recounting of our first time in Spain and just good talk. Before you go, do you want to do me the favor and join me in this final segment called The Final Puff? It's a rapid fire round of questions.
All right, go ahead.
So, number 1, Tabasco, Crystal, or other?
Tabasco.
Number 2, favorite vacation destination?
Spain.
Number 3, the ideal person you would want to smoke a cigar with, alive or deceased?
I'd like maybe Patrick Bet David. That's what I would like to smoke with.
Okay. Number 4, desert island cigar. Only one cigar you can smoke.
Oh, God dang it. That's only
gotta
one
be
cigar I can
Honduran.
smoke.
Yeah, you got to pick one cigar. You can only smoke one cigar for the rest of your life.
Oh, Oscar Habano.
Okay. And who would you want to see on a future podcast?
Who would I like to see? Anybody.
Like me, like talk, yeah.
Oh.
Who would you want to see me interview?
I know. I honestly, I think I'd like to see maybe famous or non-famous. Doesn't matter who.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who. Yeah.
Al Pacino. I'm a big fan.
Al Pacino? Okay.
Yeah, big fan. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, very good. Well, appreciate you, Gus. Until the next cigar, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.
All right.